All right. So once your machine is live, basically it's going to take a couple of minutes to start your machine. This is what the automatic 1111 interface looks like. So you arrive here, as you can see, this is like the time available. You can change it, you can stop it, so you don't spend money for nothing. And the first time it might feel a little bit overwhelming, but don't be worried. I'm going to show you what is important within this interface, so you know how to use it. But pretty much the first and most important part is probably the checkpoint. So here, you can actually choose from different stable diffusion model. And that's really cool. And that the difference with Midjourney is because depending of like what you're trying to create, you can experiment with different model. And the main difference is you have the 1.5 model that are like the previous version of stable diffusion. And then you have the SDXL, which is the more recent one, higher resolution, the better quality overall, but you can switch from all these different checkpoints. And usually what I recommend is, you can take a look from civitai.com. It's a really cool website where pretty much you have all the different models available. So if you're not sure, you can take a look. They also show you a preview of, like the type of model and what type of content it can generate. Usually the example are not the most inspiring, let's say it this way, but it's just kind of like giving you an idea of like what it can do. And then if you click on the image, you can actually on the side, not only the prompt that they use, but also the settings. So they can be super helpful if you explore with different model and different images. You can just like take a look and see what works best for you. That's a really cool platform. You can search by images. One of the main difference, and full disclosure, there is a lot of porn on this platform because the difference compared to Midjourney is like there is no censorship on diffusion. So you can do pretty much everything you want. Don't share anything that is, too complicated on the Discord, please. But at least you have like the opportunity to like explore different model and different style. And so basically we're going to use a Juggernaut XL for this example. Here, you don't need to like worry too much about that. You can spend more time if you want to dig in like all the different settings, but I will break this up in like small videos so you can like understand what each section does and how you can use it. But basically here you have the positive prompt. So positive prompt, let's take this one that I created. So you will see like the difference between Midjourney and Stable Diffusion. So I can put this prompt here. Be sure to remove all the token and settings because a Stable Diffusion will not use them. And then the negative prompt, you can use some from like the other example. The difference with Midjourney is like negative prompt are actually useful with Stable Diffusion. There is like different example, but then let's just like take from this one. And you can put it here and it's just going to help with like some problem within your image. And here, this is like the most important section. You can add more sampling steps. It's like how many steps of denosing it will do. So like usually between 20 and 30, that's like a good one. Here you have different sampling methods. Same thing, you can play around with it, but then this one is good. The Euler is good as well. So you can like try and figuring out which one works best for you. We're not going to take a look at like the IRFX and refiner, but like basically they're just like section that can help you with like upscaling your image and refining it. But I will show you how you can upscale an image after the generation. And then the refiner here is like if you want to use an extra model to refine the render. Not necessary, sorry, you can play around with it. In terms of ratio, if you use 1.5 models, and the ratio need to stay between like 512 and 512. If you use a SDXL model, you can double that to 1024. And then here you can like set up the ratio. And then you can change it, of course, if you want to do a vertical mode. That's usually a good place to start. Batch count is how many images you will generating each time. So that's another cool stuff compared to Midjourney. You can go as big as like 100. It will take forever to render, so I don't recommend you do that. But once you have a prompt that works and a render that you are happy with and you need to generate more images, you can do that. And then you can do as many batch size as you want. So like, let's say if you put 4 here and 2 here, you're pretty much going to have like 2 batch of 4 images. We're going to keep it for 1 for now. SFG scale, you can reduce a little bit between like 2 and 3 are like usually good. And that's pretty much it for this part. Here you have a bunch of like add-on that you can activate. We're going to spend a lot of time with ControlNet, but there is also Animate Diff for the animation. And then here you can also run multiple variation of your prompt. But let's just like do a first render to kind of like seeing what's happening. So you hit generate, you can stop or you can skip at any time. It will take a couple more seconds the first time you run it, just to like get things cranking. And then after that, it's actually pretty fast. And you will see it will render the image in small here. And then you will be able to see kind of like full resolution. So it's generating with like the little preview. I'm selecting a batch of 4 on this one. And so here you have the image. So as you can see, like it's, Stable Diffusion is still pretty good, in my opinion. Haven't like refined or upscaled anything. Just to show you the comparison, this is what we have in Midjourney. So the lighting and everything is like way more, I prefer, but like here you still have like stuff that are like pretty cool, pretty interesting, like more creative in a sense. So you can like work on this part. But let's say once we have this image, if we want to actually upscale it, we're going to click on this frame emoji that will basically send this image to our image to image tab, which is here. And so in this example, again, just to show you kind of like the basics. So it brings to the image to image here. Basically, you have like the resize, and then you can decide like how much you want to upscale it. So if you do, let's say like by 2, like already it will be like a pretty good resolution that then we can put inside Magnify. And then the most important part here, you want to reduce the denoising strands because you don't want the upscaling to transform your image. But actually, let me show you what's going to happen. If I keep it at, like 0.7, for example, and it generates, it will upscale, but it will also transform your image. So you need to be sure this setting is taken care of. So it's like starting, is using this as a reference, and going to start creating the image here. So the resolution will be bigger, but it's probably going to change a lot of what the image is actually about. And create some artifact and problem. So just to show you as an example, that can be like a cool artistic project, but like as you can see here, mess up entirely with our beautiful image. So we're gonna go back and we're gonna reduce this to like, I think 0.2 should be enough, but let's try it. So now it's gonna just like redo the process. So that's another cool thing when you're using it, and like you can just like do some adjustment. If like you're not happy with the results, you can change it. And so as you can see here, basically we upscale the image, but we haven't changed anything much from like the previous version. But we have a file that is like twice the size that we can then take, download, and putting into Magnify, like I showed you before. So that's kind of like it for like the quick introduction with Stable Diffusion. I recommend you start to like play around with it, test with different model. My 2 favorite are the Dream Shaper, Juggernaut. Then you can use the Sync Diffusion XL. And the Excel base is also a good one. This is like the original model by Stable Diffusion. And if you want to render stuff faster, you can try some of the previous model as well. So enjoy, and then I see you in the next video to show you more about the ControlNet feature.